for the main event. Let us stand and give a good New York Queens Olympic Guyana welcome to our beloved Vice President, Bharrat Jagdeo.
Just move forward a bit. Yeah, that's good. Colleagues, friends, ladies and gentlemen, let me say it's a pleasure to be here in New York. As many of you are aware, we're on our way back from Washington after spending a week there. President Ali has returned to Guyana. He's hosting a very important event tonight, an Emancipation Night dinner. And just today, as you saw, he turned this out for a very important hospital, which is going to transform healthcare, particularly for women and children in Guyana. It's a 149 million euro hospital that will bring world-class care to our children and women when completed. I'm here, and I know this is short notice because just yesterday we decided to have this event, and I thought it propitious that I use this occasion on transiting New York to speak to you, because the last time I came here was September last year for the UN General Assembly, and at that time, given the COVID protocols, we could not have engagements such as this one today. So I've never really had a chance to speak to you since we resumed office on August 2nd, 2020. And as General Secretary of the People's Progressive Party, I thought it very necessary that I share a few thoughts with you on that process, but first of all, thank many of you who contributed to the return of the People's Progressive Party to office in 2020. I know many of you played roles to varying degrees, and many of you, even if you were not there physically, and some people from New York came down physically, you were there in spirit, and that you shared many of the concerns that we shared in the period post-election when APNU refused to demit office and sought to rig the elections. And it was only with a strong fight led by the People's Progressive Party, but with many other small parties and civil society in Guyana and the international community in the support of the diaspora, that we managed to displace them from office. Many people had, especially the older comrades, older people here, had grave misgivings about our ability to succeed, given the trauma that they faced in the almost 3 decades of undemocratic rule of the PNC. They, in fact, many of them said it will never happen. And we showed that with resilience and a strong fight, and with a single-mindedness in terms of purpose, that we could have done that. But many of you played a critical role in that regard too, and as I said before, I wish to thank you for that. Had we not succeeded, our country would have been an international pariah. We would have possibly faced sanctions, and it would have been a very different situation today in Guyana. So what have we done in the past 2 years? Because on Tuesday will be the 2nd anniversary of the government in office. And today I want to take you on a small journey over the past 2 years to give you a picture of what we had to do and what occupied our time. An industry made up of a few negative people who have made this a business. And so they have sought to situate the recent visit by the President and the delegation to Washington as, first of all, that we're selling out national interests. Two, that we were summoned to Washington to be lectured by the US administration because somehow they had convinced the US administration that what is happening in Guyana is inimical to the interests of sections of our people. And this is all patently false. I think you have a great deal, those of you who've been following the media, a great deal of jealousy of your finale administration, and that he could have engaged the US administration at such a high level and with so many people. That's the first thing. And they're hoping by being negative, they could somehow sway US opinion, at least at the level of the legislature and the executive, about the positive story that's taking place in Guyana. They've done this through misrepresentation, and they're fearful that such a trip as happened would have exposed the lies they were peddling in the congressional circles and with the US administration. And so let me quickly tell you what happened on the trip. And so the key issue here was looking out for national interest. And the national interest of Guyana is best served through strong, friendly relations with Washington. And therefore, we sought systematically to improve that relationship. The United States of America shares a lot of the values that we share in Guyana, values of a free society, a democratic society. And they were very vocal in the last elections in expressing support for those values. And so the trip was about strengthening our relations in that regard. Secondly, there are several things that are critical to national interest. The entire Venezuelan threat to our sovereignty is important for Guyana and Guyanese everywhere in this world. The United States of America has supported us strongly in terms of preservation of our sovereignty and territorial integrity. As you know, we now have a case before the International Court. And it is critical that we brief the US administration as to our position and secure their continued support for Guyana in that process.